Guys, you've had an amazing week of doing all kinds of things, writing code and all sorts of things. Give yourselves a round of applause. You made it through the last couple of days. All right, so as Dr. Happy Stolle has said, my name is Phumelele Zondi. I'm going to be your MC for this evening. My job is easy. The job that's been difficult is that of the judges who spend an hour fighting amongst each other, trying to choose those that would win this evening and would be receiving those prizes. So I'm going to ask you to do, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do this evening. Who has a mobile phone that has data that is still on? You cannot be serious. 3 people have mobile phones that have data that are still... Okay, 2 more on this side of the room. Maybe it's because you don't know. Okay, guys, take your mobile phones out of your pockets. Just take them out of your pockets. Everyone has a mobile phone. Some have 2. They say South Africa has over 100% mobile phone penetration. Take a selfie with the person on your left or on your right or both. It can't be that difficult. You guys are the people who are making sure that some of us are out of employment by designing all kinds of algorithms that make sure you're out of employment. You can take selfies. And then go to whichever social media account you choose to go to and use the hashtag CPHCConf2018. And let's make this trend. So, all right, so go to whichever social media account you choose, hashtag CHPCConf2018. Let's make this evening trend. All right, so another thing, if you haven't used the toilets, you walk just outside that open door, turn to the right, the toilets are going to be on your left. So those are the signs you're going to be looking for this evening when you are looking for the bathroom. Let me call to the stage Dr. Daniel Adams. He is from the Department of Science and Technology to welcome us all to this award ceremony.
Good evening, everybody. Allow me to welcome you to this CHPC 2018 conference, and especially the awards for the different categories, the posters, the cyber security, as well as the student cluster competition. This proved to be a very important or the important part of the conference, specifically in particular for the students and their coaches, because they work, I think, since June of every year, or from the beginning of June, towards this particular point in this endeavors. And so this is a highlight. So I think all the good talks, the plenaries and that, has been just in one ear, out by the other, but because they concentrated so much and even spent sleepless nights to concentrate and to wait for this particular moment. So we would like to welcome all the invited speakers from in the confines of South Africa, but in particular those from overseas who've joined the conference over the last 3 days now to make this conference a huge success, I mean, if we can use the words of the Master of Ceremonies. So I think, in my mind, it's a very successful conference due to the contributions of everybody present here tonight. And we hope that you'll also enjoy this part of the conference. I think it's important for me to, as I said, now this is a highlight in the life of the conference. And therefore, it's important just to reflect for a few minutes on why this is important for the DST and the country at large. Because we know that, I mean, for South Africa, skills and the development of skills and expertise in the areas of science, engineering, and technology remains, I mean, a big challenge and an important part of, I mean, for the country in terms of its investment. And you know, we have, I mean, over the last few years, we've following the plan, I mean, the National Development Plan, which sets out a guide for us to see how we have to respond as a country to the needs in terms of skills development, also in the area of science, technology, and engineering. And just if you allow me to again give you an idea of what are the targets that we're pursuing now in this particular area. The National Development Plan sets out a target of 100 PhDs per million of population by the year 2030 to improve research innovation capacity in South Africa. And currently, we're only producing about 2,000 PhDs per year, which translate into only 40 PhD per million of population. So you can see we're chasing the target of 100, and we're at the moment around about 100 or 40 PhD per million of population. And that will require us to graduate something like 6,000 PhDs per year compared to the 2,000 that we're currently doing. Currently also there's a challenge within the significant research supervisory capacity in the country. That means the doctoral student to supervisor capacity. In the moment we're hovering around 40% of the academic staff in the country having PhDs now, and we're chasing the NDP target by 2030 of about 75%. And you can see now we still have a long way to go to reach these targets. So it's important that the country had to position ourselves and introduce specific interventions how to respond to this now. And currently the country, the disciplines or the interventions that's aligning itself to speak to the skills development within the e-science and e-research area is currently mainly from computer science. So what we've done over the last last 2 years now was to conduct or to commission a scientometric study on the basic science, including computer science, just to assess the current state of affairs in that particular area. And we've now looked at the assessment or the state of affairs across a number of areas in terms of the staff capacity. And it's important, encouraging to see that the study shows that the staff, with regards to the staff capacity in computer science, which is the driving force for skills development in the areas of data science and technology development, cyber infrastructure development, there's an improvement in the area of the staff capacity. There's an improvement in the area of the staff diversity, gender and demographics and so forth. There's also an improvement in the areas of the doctoral enrollments. But when it comes to and also the female and contributions to that. But when it comes to the pipeline in terms of the students entering the system as honors or undergraduate students, to where those ones really taking up or pursuing postgraduate study, and in particular doctoral studies, that remains a challenge for the country. The numbers are actually showing going in the negative direction. The number of females, and I think there was a big emphasis and the special award from Intel for the best female student throughout the competitions here. So there's actually a worrying trend also in the case of females. The number of doctoral students has actually decreased over the period from 2005 to 2015, which the study is covering. And the number of students, we're starting off with the input of number of enrollments of postgraduate students, something like, say, 471 enrollments, and of that, just over 65% eventually graduate with honor students. In the case of the masters, again, hovering in the area of only 23% of the students in new enrollments eventually passing or graduating with masters. And then the worrying part is, and especially in the context of us pursuing the NDP targets, is the number of PhD students in terms of new enrollments versus the number that graduating in the end. For the period of 2000 to 2015, there was actually a decline from 50% enrollments to graduations to, in the year 2015, to only 18%. So there's a worrying, and if you think of, you start about 61% of honors students graduating, and only 18% of PhDs graduating at the end. So you can see the pipeline. There's a huge leakage from the number of enrollments to the number of students. So it remains a challenge for us to, as a country, to really introduce specific or special interventions to address this pipeline leakage issue now. And so therefore, we have to introduce, as a government and as a country, incentives to actually stimulate the pipeline so that more students come entering into the system at honors and undergraduate level, and exiting with PhDs at the end, in order to really to grow the knowledge economy in the country. And therefore, the DST remains committed to introduce and support specific or special or targeted interventions. And we just, over the last 2 years or so, we introduced a master's program, a multidisciplinary, multi-institutional program with a structured master's program led by a number of universities in the country to address specifically the skill set and the requirements within the e-science and e-research areas. And therefore, it's for us, the interventions like this, or the conference, the hosting of this conference, where students and researchers are exposed to quality presentations and rubbing shoulders with the best people in the world in this particular field. And these competitions that has been introduced over the last few years provides an excellent platform for this actually to grow, or to stimulate and to grow the pipeline. And therefore the DST remains committed to support interventions like this. And over the last few years, also, my history with this conference, it started off with the cluster competition, which proved to be a highlight. And since we introduced now the NICIS, which is the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure, which is now with the focus of an integrated approach towards the high-performance computing, the data, as well as the networks, and as well as the HCD, there was also an expansion of the competitions, both not just the cluster, but also for the cyber security challenge and well as the poster support. So there's this growing interventions, and innovations now, and targeted interventions with the country launched through these efforts now, and it's fully supported by the DST. So we acknowledge and would actually value the contribution or the efforts put in by the NICIS management across those 4 elements I've indicated, and their stakeholders for actually making all this possible, the competitions and all the efforts that's going around it. We also acknowledge the ongoing support from industry and the research institutions in this regard, because if it's not the partnership between academia, the government, as well as the research institutions and with industry, this is not possible. And this is evident through the recognizing the different interventions as well as the generous support from our industry partners. So lastly, I would like to congratulate all the students, the coaches and the supervisors for producing the winning teams. But although, in my mind, everybody is a winner. All the participants are actually winners because the fact that they agreed or to participate or took up the challenge to participate in this competition now here is already a demonstration that you're a winner. Unfortunately, end of the day, there can only be one winner. So good luck also then to, in particular, the winners of the winning team for the cluster competition, which will, I think their journey only starts tonight because they still have to go through intense preparations for the international competition next year. So with that, I would like again to say very welcome to this awards evening here. Congratulations to the winners and everybody that contributed in a big or small way to make this evening possible. And we hope that you will enjoy the evening and hope that the tension that built up over the last 3 days for the students will tonight come to a culmination in the positive outcome of all the efforts that you've endeavored over the last 3 years. So thank you very much and welcome.
All right, so guys, we are going to do things a little differently this evening, right? So it's been a week of all things serious, listening to serious talks and speeches and you guys working outside and things like that. Let's take off your jackets, if you will. Dance when Sange M is up on stage. Sing along to Sange M when she's asking you to hum along with her. It's a beautiful sound. And her first song, African Dream, and I believe that it's these guys in this room as well who are going to solve some of Africa's problems, because there are plenty of problems. And often when our story is told to the outside world, it's told from a perspective of its problems. And it's not people who are solving their problems. It's not people who are designing applications to solve problems or designing machines to solve problems or people using artificial intelligence to solve some of their problems. It's you guys in this room who are going to be part of that African dream that is going to solve problems for us and possibly for the rest of the world as well. Dr. Daniel Miekete, would you please come to the podium? All right, so we've come to the first award for this evening. It's the Poster Award. It's the guys who communicate certain messages to the rest of the public, so the rest of us understand what you guys are working on a little bit easier. So that's what Dr. Daniel Miekete is going to be announcing for us.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremony, for introducing me in this way. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My task this evening is essentially to award the poster prize for students who excelled presenting their posters during this conference. They were in 2 categories. We're focusing on masters and PhDs. The reason why we essentially, we award students because we recognize the work they are doing using high-performance computing systems in Cape Town. And the process to do this, it was not a straightforward process. Before the conference, we invited the adjudicators and senior academics in South Africa. So those who are available to avail themselves. And we had a meeting to discuss the adjudication strategy. And we agreed on the strategy, then we did the evaluation. It was about approximately 60 posters, of which we had about 18 masters. Very good work, but where there is competition, so as Dr. Adams alluded, so we need to cut down numbers to the numbers that we want. Okay, while I'm getting technical assistance, I should mention that we awarding 3 prizes in each category. We start with the third one, going to the second, and the winner. Forward and backward. Okay. This is some highlights for those who were not part of the poster exhibitions that took place on Monday. So you can see a student presenting to some of the participants of the conference. There are more of this taken by the photographer. I already mentioned that there are 2 categories, masters and doctoral level. So we'll be starting with the masters. So first prize, second prize, and the first prize. And then the same with doctoral level. The team of adjudicators actually composed of senior academics already indicated. Their names, it was myself, part of the chair, a neutral person, and then there was Dr. Daniel Ludik from University of Stellenbosch, Professor Kafaran Esthuizen from University of Stellenbosch as well, and Prof. Hassani Chauke from University of Limpopo, Professor Penny Covenda from University of Johannesburg, and then George Manyani from MMUST in Kenya. The panel did a very good work. I mean, you'll see as I proceed with this. This is just to get an impression of the prizes we give. We hope to improve in future, involving other science councils. But this is a recognition. Students, you must take it as a recognition. It comes with a certificate. So you can see the third prize for both categories is PT100 power bank. You'll take it with your certificate. And the second prize is 1 terabyte hard drive. So you'll have some storage device that is portable, of course, for your data, for your thesis work. And the first prize is actually 2 terabytes hard drive. You must be careful, students. Just look at the criteria that we used. The panel had to look at the quality of the poster itself. You know, when you're preparing your poster, you must take that into consideration. We give you prescription online that how you prepare your poster. Don't just prepare your poster because you just want to go to the conference. You must take your work serious and the quality must come out. And for us, what is important is the high performance computing content and quality of research. If you come into this conference, even in future, if there is no HPC component in your work as a student, this is not a relevant conference for you to come and present your work. So you want to see that, how high-performance computing is assisting you to get solutions to your research problems. And we also look at the ability of a student, essentially, to communicate the science content. There are some instances where students were absent. That's why we mentioned that between that hour, 4:30 and 5:30 on Monday, all students who are presenting posters are supposed to be there, so they were not there. Some of them were not there, so you lost about 1/3 of what we were giving. Very important. The last point was general impression or overall presentation. We give you 1 point on that. Don't say you don't know the criteria in future. Okay, I'm about to announce now the winners in the master's category. Before I can proceed, I'm going to call CHPC Research Manager, Dr. Werner Janse van Rensbeck, to assist with handing out the award. Students, when I call you, so you must jump to the heights of the distant stars. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Just want to make sure that I don't mix them up.
Go to the slide on the slide.
Just, okay. The third prize is Chiamaka Okeke from Rhodes University. Come this way. The second prize is Leonard Carroll from University of Cape Town. Is Leonard here? Okay. Is there someone can come and pick the awards on his behalf? Someone from UCT? Okay. Now we're going to announce the first winner of Masters category, Beauty Shibiri from University of Limpopo. Ladies and gentlemen, I was given a very difficult task, but I can see now I'm moving very fast relative to time. So we now move into the doctoral awards. I will start again with the FET. Always a bit tricky. For doctoral category, the third winner is Ahmed Hassan from University of KwaZulu-Natal. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to announce the second prize winner for doctoral category is Tobani Gambu from University of Cape Town. Tobani Gambu, is there anyone who can come and fetch his certificate?
Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to announce the first winner of the PhD category. His name is Elkana Rikut from University of Witwatersrand. Let's all congratulate the students who won awards today by giving them big hands. Mr. Ceremony, I think I done my duties that was assigned to me for this evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
So cybersecurity. And that's a challenge that a lot of us are grappling with. I went next door earlier today, and I was told that these guys are trying to crack passwords. They're trying to get into each other's systems and block and create firewalls and things like that. Those are guys we pretty much have to be scared of, right? Because you're not really safe around them. So I'm going to ask Dr. René van Heerden to please come to the front to announce the winners of that challenge.
The purpose of the cybersecurity challenge is to introduce students to the world of cybersecurity, to engage in a real world situation where they can actually practice in a safe environment and play around with security issues, and they can actually learn in the end how to protect their future companies that they work for.
My name is Robert Wadley. I'm from the University of Cape Town, and we are currently at the Sandring Challenge. These are my teammates, Oliver and Johnny, and our strategy for the challenge will be to focus on the easy problems first, and then move on to the harder ones once we completed those, as well as splitting the problems up between each other, and then once each of us have knowledge on them, we'll discuss and hopefully get the answers.
So our strategy is to go for the easy challenges first, and those are marked with less marks than others. So then it might be a difficult challenge, and then also we try and split it up so that it's not two people working on one thing at the same time. So then we'll go through them and decide, I'm good with this type of challenge, or good with that type of challenge, and go from there.
As a team, we believe in collaboration. Working as a team is vital to us. So basically, we would say our team strategy is mainly based on collaboration.
Social engineering is the art of human manipulation. So what they have to do for social engineering is I gave them a very quick brief on what is social engineering, which is where they're going to have to go out, use people as an attack vector, and see whether they can use the people to assist them in solving the challenges.
Obviously, we're all interested in cybersecurity, and secondly, cybersecurity is on the rise in South Africa with all our online banking, all our social media, so we would like to know how to protect ourselves and hopefully be able to help other people protect themselves.
For us, it's because of the variety of questions that we get. So in other codathons or challenges, it's pretty specific, but information security and cybersecurity is a broad enough topic so that you can get questions from where you have to decompile code, questions where you have to inject stuff into databases, questions where you have to alter web pages and stuff like that. So it's pretty broad-based.
Got one person doing linguistics, another that's very maths-based, statistics, and then from my side it's more sort of straight down the line computer science. So it's quite diverse, and people think differently, so we can try approach problems from many different angles.
Good evening. It's my great pleasure tonight again to announce for the second time the Sandring Cybersecurity Challenges. First, I would like to thank Happy, Leon and Anwar again in supporting me with this cybersecurity challenge. This is only our second year. We are still quite jealous of the other groups that have possibility of going overseas. So we are looking for sponsors. We are at the moment trying to get sponsors to get our teams also to go overseas. But we might have some exciting news in the next few weeks. So this is just a view of the hall. For the poor teams, the 10 teams work, some of them even worked through the night. Did a 24-hour session because they're too afraid to leave their laptops alone, because if you leave your laptop alone, the other team will mess with it. Okay. So in third place, I would ask Mr. Ivan Burke. Please, can you give the medals? And the winner is Downtown Cookie Factory from University of Pretoria. Second prize, I would like to ask Prof. Barry Irwin from Rhodes University to help with the prizes. So they seem to be, okay, they found it. Bitface from Stellenbosch University. Thank you very much. Okay. For the hash challenge, sponsored by Microsoft, we must ask Mr. Peach to please help to present the slides. The prizes. Okay. And the winners is GGEZ from the University of the Western Cape. See, the local boys are The next prize is the Social Engineering Prize. Here we decided to deviate from the normal methodology. We wanted to give a prize to a team. We rather decided to give a prize to 4 individuals. So as I call up your name, please come forward. The prizes were given by Mr. Francois Mouton. Muhammad Rashid Kasim from University of Witwatersrand. Sinead Pearl Lekoma, Cybernetics, University of Botswana. Zonika Lomba, Northwest University. And Tishama from Namibia University in Science and Technology. for the social engineering challenge, they were expected to go up to strangers, find out their personal information, like example of the hair products that they used. And Zonica, I think, looks for a bold person to do that, so that we found a very, very good choice. Okay. Finally, with the last two is the attack defend challenge. In this challenge, the groups had to secure their own server. They had 2 hours to secure their own servers that we prepared with a lot of issues and problems. Mr. Skulk Peach that prepared it was really upset because he's used to prepare machines that are secure, and it was against his grain in his soul to prepare something that was insecure. But he went through it, and we have an insecure machine. Then for 2 hours they had a chance to clear up all the problems, and then after lunch, all mayhem. You must secure your machine while you're allowed to attack the other machines. And this is done after 2 days of doing normal challenges, so they're already tired. So the winner of this prize is Miss Judge from the University of Pretoria. Oh, and I forget, this prize will be given by, sponsored by MWR, and the medals will be given by Gabriel de Souza. And now we move to first prize, and the reason they stay is the winners is Miss Judge from the University of Pretoria. And the medals will be given by Mr. AJ McCann. Thank you very much. I would really like to thank our sponsors, MWR. They were actually here for the week to be actually to observe the students, help them sometimes into the ditch, but also help them a little bit, and Microsoft that gave us some Azure credits. And finally, I'm really looking forward to next year that we can host this again. From last year, where it was still quite a bit of a challenge to get it going, and we had lots of technical issues. We had fewer technical issues, and we had 10 teams and even 2 teams from neighboring countries. So I think the cybersecurity challenge this year was a great success, and looking forward to hosting it next year. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we already have got food. We had drinks. So, yes, that's the end of our program. Okay. Now, just to say, that was just the beginning. We still have got a long stretch. So for this session, this will be the Student Cluster Challenge. You have seen the previous one. We're looking at from cyber infrastructure, networking, data transport, security is very important. That was the awards that Renier was giving. And the awards that are coming is more like building clusters, high performance computing, and large data processing. So I would like just to say a little bit about this. The objective here is for us to be able to build the generation, future generation to be working in the cyber infrastructure. And what I would like to share with you is in November, during supercomputing, the center, in collaboration with other partners, our long partner, Dell Computing, Texas Advanced Computing, and Cambridge University, we received an award from HPC Wire, which is the leader in high performance computing of Reader's Choice Award for Workforce Diversity Leadership Award. And after a piece that was written by Dan Alls, I'm not sure if he's here. Oh, Dan, there he is. He put a nice piece of work that he put on the HPC wire, and a lot of people around the world liked it, and hence this award. So I would say, okay, so on that note, I'm not doing anything in here except to call the people who make decisions, who worked with these kids the whole week. And I would like to call Dr. Birali Runesha from University of Chicago to join me on stage as the chairperson of the judges. And David McLeod, the organizer of this meeting and the mentor of our International Student Cluster Challenge, to join me on stage. And on that, Birali, I hand over to you to explain the whole process today.
Thank you, Happy.
This student cluster competition program is quite an important event for undergraduate students in predominantly STEM programs within universities in South Africa.
Our strategy for this competition is to basically communicate with each other, to de-stress at appropriate times, and to manage our workload. So 2 of our team members work very well together, and 2 of our other teammates work very well together. So in appropriate times, we divide up the work.
The strategy that we have as a team is to being able to configure the hardware, the software, and the network as fast as possible so that we can be able to run all the benchmarks that we are given as a team.
We as a team, we give each other different types of tasks to do. And in doing those tasks, we make sure that we communicate to each other so that we can understand the basic task that a person is doing.
We designed a 3-node cluster which has 20 cores per node and 32 gigs RAM. We believe that this would give us our optimal solution as to achieving the benchmarks, as that is very reliant on interconnectivity between the nodes.
We prioritized in our cluster design the core to RAM ratio and the interconnect between our nodes.
So they get given a budget and they choose their computer hardware based on their lessons learned from their initial round.
Our team plan was to keep the cluster as powerful as we could within the cost limitations of the project. We've ended up with a slightly more finicky network than we wanted, but we have lots of CPU cores and lots of memory.
Due to budget constraints, we had to sacrifice the Mellanox switch, which was costly. It was costing a lot of money. So we decided to go for a bigger RAM and 2 CPUs instead of 1, so that we can have parallel computing across the nodes.
Ideally, we would have liked to have a switch in our cluster. It makes connectivity a lot easier, and we would have reduced the problems we had with the ring topology. But because of our budget, we wanted to maximize the resources that we have on our computers. So we ended up not buying a switch and having to deal with the problems that came with that.
Our primary goal, believe it or not, is human capital development and the training that we can provide to students. And a secondary goal, obviously, is to compete and do well. So the fact that we do reprioritize our goals compared to our competitors, I think is a good showing of how well we can compete regardless.
I guess like I was saying, I wanted to first start by thanking CHPC and Happy for the invitation. I think it has been a great pleasure for me for many years. I've come here to see how the cluster challenge have progressed. Every year I come, I stand on this podium, I always say, no, the challenges were very hard. And the next year when I come and I realize they've added even more challenges to it. So it's really, to have been in the HPC for more than 2 decades, I sincerely believe that really all the teams here really are all winners. And I really would like to ask first this audience to give them all a very big round of applause. So let me first to explain the process. So this is really a long journey, and to really recognize the hard work that the mentor they go through, David and Matthew's team, and all the collaborators at the CHPC actually do a great deal of work behind the scene. It's really unbelievable the amount of time and effort that is required to pull this, starting beginning with the selection process, inviting the students, working with them, until leading all the way towards the cluster challenge itself. The students are provided with a budget ceiling to which they are supposed to design a cluster. And then once they design the cluster, they have to basically put together all the pieces, and then also are given a set of benchmarks that have to be run during the competition. So those benchmarks are not just synthetic benchmark. Basically, it's really a suite of real code. So there is a set of what we call synthetic benchmark that really measure a little bit some of the hardware counters, things like LIMPAC, HPCG, and HPCC. Those are really some of the core synthetic benchmark they have to run to. But in addition to that, they also have to run real applications. And this year, the 2 applications that they were running, one of them is a molecular dynamics code that really is used for some simulation, real simulations. And they were given actually 2 sets of data sets. One is a small one they could run on a small machine, but there was also a big, large data set, a 1.5 million water molecule data set that they had to even run in the cloud as well. And then beside that, they also were given what we call a finite element suite of packages called Phoenix that is actually real use also in real applications in the industry. So in addition to the synthetic benchmark, as you can imagine, those are already an application, those are really big load. They were also provided what we call a bonus benchmark. Once you finish those benchmarks, you are also given to run a surprise benchmark. This year was a deep learning, using basically a deep learning framework, and then running the ResNet 50 application. Why am I emphasizing this? Some of these applications and framework, they are usually in centers like ours where you have dedicated people that really have to do this on a daily basis as a full-time job, and you are really expecting in such a short period of time, in 2 days, for the student to install it, to run the application, submit results. This is really a great deal of work. Also, differently this year, they also had access to cloud resources that was provided on Microsoft Azure, where some of the benchmark basically they had to log in the cloud and run some of those benchmarks. So what did the panel did? We collected all those results. So the students were graded based on the benchmark they submitted on each one of them. All of them are normalized. But in addition to that, we also were looking at the design of the cluster itself, looking at the team dynamic, all the judges, you may have seen them walking around, talking to all the students throughout. And unanimously, I would have to say that we're all very impressed by the talent and the skills of all the participants. So I'm not going to take too long, but before I do that, I would like to also thank again the CHPC, the mentor team. I would like to thank all the sponsors, and I'll be announcing them. We have Dell, Intel, Mellanox, Altair, Microsoft, and Bright Computing. Without their support, we will not be able to do this challenge. So what we'll do, I will be announcing the awards in this particular order, what the panel of judges, and by the way, I would like also to recognize all my colleague judges who really had a tough hour to come up to the conclusion, because all these decisions were not really easy, because all of them were winners, but we had to come up with some ranking of some sort. And I would have to say that room, we had a very heated discussion, was very constructive. So what we'll do, I will start with the most innovative and then go down the list, best teamwork, and then the 3 places, and then we're gonna call all the from the 10th to the 6th place on the stage as well. And then this year also new, we'll be giving an award for the best female student award. And then after that, we're gonna also announce basically the constitution of the team. I would like to ask, when I call your team here to get you your award, if you can stay a little bit on the stage so that the photographer can take a nice picture of you before you can go back. All right. So the first prize, which is the prize, the most innovative team, this is the team that, before I do that, it was supported by Altair. And I would like to call Alexander Franke from Altair, if you can join us on the stage, please. And this team actually is the one that really had the best design overall, that when they judge, we look at all the designs. And that the prizes goes to Aero. Oops. It got to the prize go to Aero 404, name not found. So hopefully I will know how to use this next time. So the next prize is sponsored by Bright Computing, and is a prize for the best team work. This actually team was very, very well organized, to the point where when they studied their challenge, they even mapped how their sleeping time were going to happen. So the best team work goes to Will Code for Pizza. This is the University of Wits. So the next prize is sponsored by Mellanox, and I would like to call Yossi Adi from Mellanox to join us on the podium, please. So this third prize goes to the team that actually was so dedicated that they didn't really work until the last minute, to the point literally they really submitted their last result a minute before the end of the competition. And the third place goes to Wits from the University of Wits. So the second place prize is sponsored by Eclipse Holdings. And this team was one that usually when during the competition, the team will ask questions. There is a lot of interaction between the team and the mentor. But this is the one that was the most independent and did not really need too much assistance overall. And the second place goes to the Short Circuits from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So the next prize is sponsored by Dell EMC, and I would like to call Mark Lane from Dell to join us on the podium. Mark. So this team that won the first prize, usually when you have a cluster competition, usually people will be stressed. But overall, this team was the one that did not take anything seriously. They were pretty kind of casual, and then you can tell they were also having fun. So the first place goes to Department of Spaghetti Engineering, University of Cape Town. Now I'm going to call from the 6th to the 10th place to the podium. As I call you, and I'm calling you in a random order, please come on the stadium, but please stay because we're gonna take a picture of everybody at the end. Just come and stay. So please join us, STAR University of Free State, Kulisa Academy, O2 and Kulisa Academy Phoenix, University of Free State, Tiger Team, and Kulisa Academy, I guess.
Okay. So just call them up and then hand it over to Hannes and yeah.
Okay.
So just form an area around here. They're going to be go in the front, come on the side here.
I think we are missing commitment issues. Please stay. I would like to ask also the first to the fourth prize for all the team to come for another picture of everybody. Now is the time to give the award for the best female student. We would like also to congratulate all the participation of our female participants. I would like to invite Ian Wardrop and Hannes Stein to join us for, on the podium. The award is sponsored by Intel. Yeah. This award actually was very critical in a sense that all the participants. Don't reveal the name. Yeah. So all the participants actually they had to write a letter explaining the why they should deserve it, and they had to submit their transcript as part of this selection process. So, and the third criteria was to look, the judges were also looking at their individual participation during the cluster challenge. So there were really a number of criteria that the judges that they had to go through that was quite exhaustive. And I would like to let Intel reveal the Best Female Award.
Okay. So the reason that we came up with this award is, obviously I've been down to South Africa quite a few times, and I know Hannes, and he came to me and he says, I need to sponsor CHPC again. And I went, okay, how much? And I went, okay. And so I was glad I was sitting down because it was an eye-watering amount. And I thought, how do I justify this to corporate? But I'm quite lucky that, I can have forecast what Hannes is going to ask for 12 months in advance, because I've got to get corporate funding. But again, at Intel, we have a diversity program as well, where we have positive promotion, of diverse candidates. And one of the prime examples of this, you've got a Scotsman and a one-armed South African up here presenting tonight. It's probably the start for a good joke. We probably only need an Irishman, and we've got a great joke. So no, I mean, with Trish and the Birds of a Feather, and Trish is a big proponent of kind of supporting diversity and kind of making a drive for change. And so we decided that, I have to justify how we spend the money down here. And one of the things, in driving and supporting diversity was one of the things that's key to our heart. So again, we were kind of pleased to kind of get Trish's support for this award. And Trish couldn't be here tonight because she had to fly back to the US, but she was really blown away by the interaction, the support, and that's great. And all the feedback that she's got, that makes mine and Hannes's job so much easier when we go ask for money for next year. Because if somebody says no, I go to Trish. So thank you all for kind of engaging with Trish. So over to Hannes.
Who would like to see the name behind this? Okay, Ian is going to turn it around.
Pay to cash, pay to Ian Wardle, whatever.
Okay. First of all, I want all the ladies that participated in the student cluster competition to stand up so that everybody can have a look at them and give them a great round of applause. Stand up, ladies. All of you, stand up. Don't sit down, don't sit down. Remain standing. I just want to give a bit of an idea to you how tough it was to adjudicate this prize. First of all, you were adjudicated based on your letter that we asked you to write, the one-pager. I know it was extremely difficult to position yourself in a single pager, but there was a real purpose in that, and that you will see in future life. The second part is we looked at your technical contribution in the team. The third part was the qualifications that you achieved, but then there was a fourth aspect as well. And that's where the adjudicators or the judges, with their interaction with you, also had to score you on a point. And it was extremely close. You can see how I walk out of that adjudication committee. So, David had to pull Barali out of Fahim's beard. That's how bad it was. We had to get in the paramedics about 3 times and a cardiologist to resuscitate some people. But I'm asking the photographer now to come up here on stage as well and look at the ladies there where they are standing, so that when we reveal that name, so that she can get a quick flash on that person's name. So maybe I must ask the ladies to stand a bit closer. Come a bit closer. Are you ready?
click the clicker. We're gonna proceed with announcing the team that is going to go to IAC. So the way it works, usually after we have selected, given the awards, we put together a team that will represent CHPC and South Africa to IAC competition in Germany. By default, the team that wins is selected. And usually the process goes, actually, it's just the beginning of their journey. So the team that is going to be put together will be constituted with 6 members and 2 reserves. And those people will travel to Texas at the Texas Advanced Computing Center in Austin, sometime I believe in the summer, or no, in January, end of January, beginning of February. I forgot that summertime here is different than our summer. So usually they go there for a training, and then after that they come back, and then they prepare for the competition in June in Frankfurt in Germany. So I'm gonna start by announcing this cluster competition is sponsored by Dell. I would like to ask Mark Lane from Dell to join us again on the podium. So we're going to start by announcing the reserve members. And maybe we should call first the team that won, which will be Stefan Schroeder, Dylan Held, Jehan Singh, and Clara Stessen to join us first. So those are the first 4. And the first person to be part of the reserve team is Stefan Pico from University of KwaZulu-Natal. And the second person to join as a reserve is Mapule Madzena. So now I'm going to announce the other 2 people that are going to be part of the 4, make the 6. The first person to join is Anita de Melocock from WITS. And last but not least, the last member to join is Camilla Desai from also WITS. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the ISC 2019 Student Cluster Competition Team from CHBC.
Okay, so first of all, I think let's really thank the judges. This wasn't an easy task. They did a fantastic job. And what is important is that now, as Birali has indicated, this team, the journey starts now for the battle that will be taking place with the rest of the world in June. So there's not much time in between. So immediately the students have to start. I know most of them, they don't even have IDs, so they have to get an ID, get a passport, and get a visa, because immediately in January they have to go to Austin, where they will spend time at the Dell Research Lab. And thanks to Dell for this partnership to take a bunch of kids and get them into their research lab and expose them to the secrets of building the computers. So Dell, for this, it's a fully funded trip where they pay for their tickets, for their upkeep when they're there, and expose them to the technologies. And after a week, spending also time with the Texas Advanced Computing, they come back home with a design. And normally that design, they keep it to their chest. They don't even tell us what is their design that they come up with. And we only see that design in ISC in Germany, in Frankfurt. And for that also, Dell's partnership with this is very important. And at this competition level, they don't really use the switching, the interconnect, because they are expensive. And we are very proud to have Mellanox to support them with state-of-the-art switch for that. Unfortunately, I want trouble Yossi to come back on stage, but we acknowledge Mellanox support also on that. And of course, the hardworking team of mentors, that's when David started getting gray hairs, because all this logistics and the training, it starts now. So David and the team, the challenges start now. And lastly, I think this support also, we wouldn't be doing it if the Department of Science and Technology was not entrusting us with this responsibility and say that they want to change the landscape of the workforce or human capital development in the country. So they trust this, and they have got expectation. You heard what Dr. Adams was saying. South Africa always on the podium finish, and he has got expectation. The minister has got expectation. The country has got expectation. So no Christmas for you. So you go and start working now. So with those words, I would like to wish you all the good luck in this long journey, and hope that by July we will be meeting again and shaking hands as a successful team. Go and wrestle that championship out of the Chinese. Okay.